Hey guys, RunBuck with RunBuck on Games. Got another war recap for you. Thought I'd put it up here because Darc Avengers is a pretty good war clan in the Fair Play community. They did beat us, sad face, by 1 star. Though we did win overall destruction percentage, you can see, by 4 points. So kind of an interesting war in that regard. I wanted to make sure to put up, we had a couple of 3 or 4 really good attacks up in the Town Hall 11, Town Hall 10 category. So we'll be sharing those on this war recap so you can take a look. The war itself at a high level outside of losing, they did have a little bit of a Town Hall advantage. 1 extra Town Hall 10, we were even on 11s with 3. And then they also had all Town Hall 9s, whereas we were carrying, I think, 3 Town Hall 8s, and our bottom Town Hall 9s were a little weaker than theirs. So I think they had a slight advantage, but either way, they played great and definitely deserved the win. But at the same time, some good attacks. So let's take a look at those from our side, and then we'll get to it. I did record them one at a time, so it'll look kind of piecemeal together, but what are you going to do? It's free. Talk to you guys later. Alright, so this is the attack on 3. Let's take a look at the scout. Sketch on it a little bit. So Ops is going, it's really a nuke, and it might actually be a good example of what a lot of the more serious war clans are shifting to for their .5s in the Town Hall 10 space. Notice how he doesn't have the Eagle, but he does have the Warden, which really, if you think about it, gives him 2-star ability against Town Hall 11 and a higher, pretty good odds 3-star ability against Town Hall 10 while waiting in kind of like a max Town Hall 10. So as long as he can hold his 2 stars against nukes like the one you're going to see here, which is a Town Hall 11 Ops max hitting him, it's a win for them. Because he basically gets a little lower weight but similar results. So what Ops is going to end up doing is he's going to queen walk this direction, taking out both the queen that will rally forth and the CC, and clearing basically this section. And then once that's complete, the main push will come from here. It's basically a Gall Whiz push with a jump off this right here, and then she'll drive the mid. And this is actually the interesting part, this jump right here that I marked. We'll put her in pink. So this jump, interesting question, because as you look at it, let's just zoom in on that specifically. As the Valks are moving and they see this jump, it's basically a split decision for them. Part will go this way, part will go that way, right? But you know that if they split this way, that these two are going to swing out, and then they're going to see this, and they're going to continue to swing out and then come around the edge, right? And I wonder if that's the best pathing, right? So if you would have, I was curious if you would have done the same jump but come from this angle, like a Gall was here, Valk's in from here, they run this way and then push in together, and then they would explode through to get more together. You'd have more firepower in the mid, basically. So I don't know. I'd be curious in your guys' thoughts on that one, if that pathing could have been better from the corner. But let's take a look at the replay. We'll just do it fast speed, and you can kind of see the flow that I'm talking about. So here's the queen walk that pushes down. And notice how the same, I call it the 4-box space, because it's always got 4 corner boxes. But they penetrate in on the mid box to go after the queen and the CC, which might be a key off of typical attacks. Oh, and I didn't even notice that was a 2-jump style. Okay, I thought he wall breakered that one, but okay. But notice how the one group here is swinging down and through. This guy right here, as they're moving. And granted, they clear, and it's a time issue, so part of me is like, well, you kind of need to clear it. If you would have left him in the mid, you would have lost the time, but then he has a good 20 seconds up here banging on this wall with the 2 Valks. I just wonder if the mid team would have cleared mid faster and then kind of come this way. Instead, would have it happened better. So I'd be curious on comments on that. Let's take a look at the next. So here's a high percentage Town Hall 10 peer hit by Darth Carlos, so we should take a gander at it, I thought. Because if you can get a high percentage at 2, it really forces the enemy to focus on 3-star. They know that it's a percentage win. And in this war it was interesting because we won by 5 percentage points and only lost by 1 star. So just 1 star somewhere would have totally given us the war. But basically what Darth Carlos does I'm going to mark here, is he starts a queen walk that's not even intending to dive. It's just queen walking this direction, and then he basically jumps to the mid with a Valk action team moving this way. Now what's interesting about the attack is you watch that king and his main force move through here, actually end up getting to here before it pitters out, is that he waits really quite a while for a C to drop his CC, which is hogs, for a run through. And I wonder, I don't know if it would have changed the attack, but a little earlier with the CC hogs, watch this now, might have made, given him another 10-15% destruction rate. So let's take a look. We'll just run at max speed. I'll pause it when it gets to that part. Here's the queen walk. Here comes the king with the jump moving through. Rage freeze that you would expect. Now here's where, so notice we've got this expo, we've got the internal Tesla. Granted, some of this stuff is still, this is still active, these outer parts. But at least the internal side, everything from here in, is shooting inward. If you drop hogs right now, they would run like this, right? They would come through and basically assist the king and the rest of the group that's in the mid, or at least take advantage of the distraction. But watch how long he waits for the CC to come out. King is now dead. So there's really no value of distraction gain, and now the expo is firing on the queen, which really doesn't matter. The queen survives it. But notice how the hogs really don't even get much. They get like 3 buildings. Whereas if they would have came in with the center distracted, I think they would have drove all the way to around here. Anyway, interesting on your comments on that, whether or not that would have mattered, or if I'm missing something about why the CC hogs had to come late. But a nice attack either way. Ends up getting around 74%, 78%, 79, 80. I think it ends up at 86, which usually is a pretty high percentage for Town Hall 10 Pier. So you can't complain about that. So here's another attack by Darth Carlos. This time he 3 stars it. Another Pier attack. Let's take a look at the base. It's a queen walk Valk action this time, so no hogs off the CC. But the basic flow looks like this. The queen walk comes this way. There's a trigger of the CC by a single hog, so then the CC comes out and dies here off poison. And at that point, he comes through with jump support, so jump here, but he basically drives a nice line with his Valk team that then cuts through. Part of it goes around the corner and comes back, and another part goes into this box and then comes through, and they join up to finish out. And then the queen itself actually survives for quite a while. The queen pushes through trailing, and that's one of the nice features about this attack, is that once the Valks pass the queens and the queen's just doing cleanup behind, she survives and the healers survive. So even if she dies to the ADs, it's at late stage. The healers then pick up the Valk team that remains, or the king. But she survives into this box, and then the healers pick up the overall troops at that point. And then he does early, nice adjustment. You'll notice some minions here that come in to cut. One dies to a bomb, and he has to adjust and drop a Valk to help out. Let's take a look at it in full speed. So there's the cut that died to the bomb. So now he knows he's a little nervous about that elixir that'll stay up, the collectors that stay up. So he's dealing with the CC at that point, but pondering. So he just drops a single Valk, which is nice, gets it done. And then there's the main push. And notice how straight that drive is versus the one that split. I think it was Ops's that did the split action of where they pushed it. So by having the jump, the single jump, and then just letting her cut through, you kind of got to understand, well, if the Valks are here, what do they see? But they burned through this wall, and really they didn't end up splitting very much. There was a main force that stayed together, and I think the burn rate's much better. And granted, the walls are also weak. I mean, I think those are level 8 walls that I'm looking at. 10s are the Infernos. No, those are level 9s. But even level 9, when they're Town Hall 10, that's pretty easy for the Valks to move through. Once they get to Inferno level 10 walls, it's a little more difficult. But yeah, it was a good attack all the way around. Nice, something to put in the matrix, I think. Alright, so here's another attack at Town Hall 10. It's a Pier attack. Granted, a little bit of a hit down within the level. Tim's a max Town Hall 10, and it was kind of more entry level. Let's take a look at it, and I'll sketch on kind of what went down, and we'll watch it in fast speed as usual. He starts a queen walk, as you would expect. It's a 4-box base, smooshed up a little bit, but you can see the basic structure of the 4-box with the mid boxes offset. And so you see a similar opening to I think what Ops did on the same base, which is a wall break, and then the queen walk moves in. CC is triggered and handled right here with a poison, right? So that's the queen walk line at that point. And then in early stage war, he actually tried to trim the edge with minions, and he got reasonably deep. He got this down, but then bombs came out and took it out. So similar to Darth Carlos, had to adjust and use a Valk here in the next phase that comes up to he cleans. So then he waits. He does the golem drop. So he drops one golem with some whiz, pushing it, but then Valk actions this to make sure it's down, and then once it's down, then his main push, Valks, he just lets them burn through the wall, which is why that had to be down. And then they burn through, and then he does a jump spell right here, which really gives, again, a nice run for the Valks where we don't split. Now, the next thing that happens that I saw him in the flow that I thought was noteworthy was he actually, let's make this orange. So he drops some Hog Riders kind of in a surgical fashion, more so to, and he kind of reinforces as it goes, but more so to, this is the Hog Rider run, to keep the Valks together and not distracted from running through. I think he also drops a jump here. But basically then, the queen, who was still up here wonking around, the hogs are used almost to push the Valks back in. So it's an interesting thought process around thinking about the Valk horde, where it's going to be, and where it's going to be wanting to, like when it's right here, if I remove all this, if the Valk horde is right here, they're going to want to go here, and then they want to go here, but they're going to kind of, there's some of them that might think about going over that way. They might end up popping out, and that's not what you want. So I think it was an interesting usage of the hogs to kind of contain in and also reduce pressure and use the distract of the Valks to take out those cannons without much counterattack to them. So here, let's watch the replay. So there's the flanking action that he tried early, and then some bombs take out the minions and they don't get the job done. Queen, that penetration is pretty consistent of bringing that queen into the mid box off a 4-box and trying to trigger, so not surprising. Off that, the burn through with the Valks, they're level 10 walls, but clearly they're able to do it. Got a heal within the mid, which is interesting, and then the 2 jumps, yeah, it was 2. And notice here, the hogs are really the ones that close the show. There's a few Valks left. If I look closely, I can see a few of them. But the hogs really survived off the distract. So it was 11 and 12 mixture, and you can see the 2 kind of work together to keep them consolidated and not splitting and pushing towards mid. It's almost like you're trying to keep the Valk run more right through the mid. I mean, granted, it kind of bounced around a little bit, but the hogs do this movement, the Valks do this movement, the queen does this movement. Interesting. Alright, so here's Shawn hitting on their lowest Town Hall 10, entry-level Town Hall 10. So it's a mega nuke. Shawn's a Town Hall 11. But it's going to be one of those 8 quake type attacks. He's going to quake here and here, basically opening up all the base except for these 1, 2, 3 boxes. Well, 4. And so most of the defenses are exposed to this inner run, so then he'll run a team right through here of Valks and Wizards and Golems to kind of push through the mid. So for a base, it kind of looks like an anti-3-star, that kind of still is holding on to their Town Hall 9 days. This type of attack might be of worthy consideration. Let's take a look at it. Move it up to fast speed. So there's the quakes as promised, and then he drops 3 golems with a bunch of wizard backers to basically clear and allow his Valks to move to mid. He's got a pretty good grouping there, and I don't really see a lot of bad things happening to his team. His Valks seem to move through. They don't spread too much, and then he's got a really nice horde of stuff coming around the outside edge. And he had a lot of time left, 30 seconds, so these huts on the corners weren't a huge concern. And the golems do a lot of work. You can see there's not a lot of golemites left. So I think the meat shield level of 3 was right. The only thing that could probably be debated was amount of wizards versus Valks, and or bringing some hog push off that. But then you're risking spring. So overall looked pretty good. Not bad for Nuke.
What am I gonna do? My clan sucks. Hey, it's JTJ.
I think that's an all-out attack.
No, it's the legendary JTJU. 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 What? I like my horn. You and this army. Download Clash of Clans for free. Then subscribe to JTJU and win.